And our final film this week is Memoir of a Snail, which is nominated for Best Animated Feature at this year's Academy Awards. With a starry voice cast, including Sarah Snook and Kodi Smit-McPhee, it might look on paper like a child-friendly animation about a snail, but rest assured, it is not about a snail, and it is certainly not suitable for children. Now, Inbal, tell me all about this film because I'm really intrigued about it and I'm planning on catching it later this week.
It is definitely fascinating. And I actually went into it thinking this is going to be a kid's film about a snail, which I was super jazzed about, by the way. Then I went into it and the movie starts. It has a very unique visual style, which I will talk about in a moment, but it kind of started the kind of opening credits and I was like, this is weird, but okay, when is the snail showing up? And then you see this girl. She has a hat that has like the snail thing. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. So the snails are like, basically we were meant to believe they're like walking around. You know, it's an animated film, suspense, disbelief. And then I realized, oh no, this is actually about people. So, okay, let's see what this is. I think the metaphor of, because the whole snail thing is a metaphor, and I think they used it so well, and I think it kind of sneaks up on you how profound the film is and how it uses that metaphor. I'm not going to say too much about it, but I didn't expect it to be that way when I was first like, okay, why is this girl a snail? Like, what's the point here? And I think they used it very, very well, and it definitely kind of hit by the end of it. So we see this girl telling everything about her childhood and kind of her upbringing. The majority of the film is a narration by Sarah Snook, who was incredible. Kind of like having an audiobook with the pictures running in front of you. But it really works. I didn't think it will when I realized, okay, the narration is not just an intro thing. But then I really got into it and it really worked for me. The story itself is what it is. It's a memoir. You're just seeing the life of this girl unfolds. We have a little kind of framing device, so it begins with her as an adult and she goes back and tells the story to one of her snails. Kodi Smit-McPhee plays her brother, and he's very much a supporting character, but he feels like such a massive part of it for me. I thought he was good. All the cast were just fantastic. Jackie Weaver especially, she was hilarious. So I mentioned the style of the film, so I don't know if you've seen like a trailer or the poster for it, but it's very beige. It's like the leading color of that film is beige and brown and gray, and I think it really suits the story. The film is very much a tragedy, and although the comedy is found within that tragedy and it is very funny at times, the story is quite heavy and it tackles very heavy themes, some of them being religion and violence and family issues and loneliness a lot of the time. And I think the visuals of it do a really good job at representing that. It is very far from being vibrant, and even the way the people look, they almost look like almost zombie-like. They're very lifeless and very almost abstract at times with certain characters. And it's really weird. It took me a while to get into it, but I think the more the story unfolded, I was like, okay, I can see why this is the way it is, and it absolutely works. Yeah. It's very unique. I don't think I've seen a film that's quite like it. The story was so engaging and it felt so real, and with it being told like a memoir in narration, I was so sure this was a true story.
Oh, yes. But it isn't?
Obviously, like, inspired, like, the writers do use people in their lives, but it is not about a specific person. That was something that struck me. I was like, that is so well written that I was so sure this actually happened in real life. Like, I had no doubt whatsoever, and they never do say it's a real story. I think it's not for everyone. The weirdness of it and the themes of it can be off-putting if you don't know what you're getting into. Like, again, I did go into it thinking this is going to be a fun kids film. Luckily enough, I was also enjoying what it ended up being. But I think you need to kind of go into it with the right expectation. But then if you do go in with the right expectation, it is a very well done film.
That's really interesting. And I'm kind of interested in how I think stop motion animation in particular has been used really effectively in recent years to tell stories that are actually quite adult, even though, as you say, it kind of looks perhaps like something that would be for a children's film. You know, I'm thinking of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which, you know, is suitable for children, but is very adult actually. And something like Anomalisa, or even the fantastic film My Life as a Courgette. These are all films which kind of use stop motion to talk about really big themes and quite adult themes. Do you think that this justifies the use of stop motion animation? Would this have worked as well if it had been, you know, hand-drawn animation or computer-drawn animation or even live action?
I think this definitely called for a stop motion. I don't know if it would have worked as well hand-drawn or computer animation, because you're basically watching someone's memories. And yes, the idea can work in different mediums, but I think because of, like, there's something about stop motion, you can see sometimes even fingerprints on the clay, and it's never gonna be perfect, and there's like always like little dents, and there's something almost unfinished about it no matter how well it's done. And I think that kind of really works with this story. Then if it was like a hand-drawn one, then I think it would have been a bit more tiring to watch so much go on screen with it all being narration. But something about stop motion, that even if it's done really well, you're still feeling like there's a stop-start thing going on sometimes. And I think actually that's something that really works for this style. Yeah, I'm really happy about the kind of renaissance that stop motion has and the kind of appreciation it's been getting in the industry. This is one of 2 stop motion films nominated for Best Animated Feature this year, Wallace and Gromit being the other one.
I'm so glad to see Wallace and Gromit getting some international love, because it feels like so often like those are such British institutions. What do you think will happen in terms of the awards? Like, is this a contender?
Well, for me, as much as I think it was great, it wouldn't be my pick to win. I think it is a strong year for animation, I will say that. I think most of the nominees are very worthy. It wouldn't be my pick, and I think because it's a bit weird, I think this speaks to a very specific target audience, and I'm so happy it was nominated. Yeah. But I think with something like the award seasons, and specifically the Oscars, I think at the end of the day, if it's something that's very niche, then in a competition that has thousands of voters, I don't know if it would really be a contender against stuff that had a bit more popularity.
Well, I mean, I'm desperate to see it now, because that sounds really, really fascinating. I mean, I love stop motion, and anything weird and wacky is definitely for me. So I'll be sure to check out Memoir of a Snail over the next few days.
Yeah, absolutely do. It's very much worth a watch.